Hello, good morning and a happy new year. Didn't 2021 go so quickly? As you get older, time does go much faster. I wonder what 2022 will bring. Well, I hope it will be happy and healthy with lots of stitching time and lots of new samplers to enjoy. We had a wonderful time over Christmas. It's been such an extended break. Christmas and New Year fell perfectly this year on the weekends, which meant that we had Monday and Tuesday this week as a national holiday, and we've got tomorrow as a national holiday as well. I've got really confused about what day of the week it is, and I found myself quite often asking my iPad what the day was. But I do know today is Sunday. Sundays are special days. I really look forward to this time with you. I view these Flosstubes as a time where I sit down with friends and chat, just as if we were meeting in real life and having a talk over a cup of coffee. I hope that in 2022 I will actually get to meet many of you, either on my travels in the United Kingdom or the United States. I know my trip in January has been cancelled due to Omicron, but I do hope that the rest of my trips will go ahead. I really want to start living life normally again and spending time with you. There are so many things that I want to do, and of course time runs out the older you get, and if you don't do things when you're able to, you're never going to do them. I've had to cancel a trip to London as well. In London, the number of Omicron cases, they really are off the scale. It is very concerning. I feel now that it's not if, but when we're going to get COVID. So many of our friends have it at the moment. Two of Ray's golfing friends have come down with it over the last couple of days, and one of my friends who I walk with each week, her husband has COVID as well. It's very concerning. Anyway, let's talk about positive things. This week saw the draw for the Martha Dawson Stitch Along. Now, this is Martha, and she was stitched by Marcia Darden, and the Stitch Along for Martha was led by Krista Grainer of Just Stitching Along, and it was hosted in our Sampler Years, a needlework group on Facebook. Everybody who finished Martha was eligible to be entered into a draw, and Hats sponsored two prizes in the draw. One was for a £50 voucher to spend on our website, and the main prize was the original Alice Williams. Now, Alice is an adorable primer sampler, stitched in Cheltenham, which is a really lovely Georgian city in England. We reproduced Alice during lockdown, and Alice is available on our website as a PDF download. Alice was won by Carrie, and Carrie will be able to display the original Alice now alongside her reproduction sampler of Alice. I find in my home that when people come and they see an original and a reproduction side by side, it always generates a lot of questions, and it's turned out to be quite a nice way to introduce people to reproduction samplers and pique their interest. I'm sorry, that was somebody knocking on the window trying to attract my attention. The winner of the Hands Across the Sea Samplers birthday competition, Kathy, I sent her sampler to her on Wednesday, and she arrived in the States on Friday. Isn't that quick? I tell you what, UPS really acted very well delivering Mary Fowler to Kathy, and Kathy was so pleased to receive her. Now, you too can enter a giveaway for an original sampler. We have lots of stitch-alongs involving hat samplers on the go at the moment. This last week we've seen lots of starts on Esther Blackwood, which is the traditional Stitches exclusive and limited edition sampler. If you go to Facebook and search on Esther Blackwood Stitch Along, you will see a lot of samplers started, and even if you're not going to stitch her, it's well worth going along and joining and following people's progress. There are a lot of people stitching Esther, and it's going to be wonderful seeing that sampler grow. And if you do stitch her and you finish her and you enter her, you've got the chance of winning a really lovely sampler as a prize. The other stitch along that's just started is Rose Ada Featherstone, and Rose is a limited edition exclusive for Hobby House Needleworks, and Rose was stitched by Marsha Dardine as well. Such a pretty sampler, and we've seen lots of starts on Rose, and we've also seen a finish. Annie shared her finish with me this week. For those of you who are stitching Rose, you would have received in Rose's booklet a bonus chart for Jane Elizabeth Milner, and we've suggested that you stitch Jane in the month of January as a blessing sampler to bring good luck throughout the year whilst you're stitching Rose. And we've seen finishes of Jane already. She's a very quick stitch, and we've seen lots of starts. The original of Jane was stitched in wool, and it's been really pleasing to see people trying wool for the first time. She's such a small sampler that it's a nice one to experiment with. Wool's not everybody's cup of tea to stitch with, but this is one that you can just test to see if you like stitching with wool. Rose and the Giant Pear. Laurie has finished her Rose, and she shared a photograph with us. It's a beautiful finish, and congratulations, Laurie. Your needles really flew. Now, Laurie used the Vera Soie silks and the creme brulee linen from Tabby Cat Linen. And I'm actually stitching on Tabby Cat Linen at the moment on Mrs. Campbell. This is on Wood Smoke, and I am so thrilled how these colours are sitting on this linen. The Wood Smoke is really showcasing this colour palette. I'm having great fun stitching Mrs. Campbell. I'm very close to finishing. I really only need probably about 2 or 3 more stitching sessions on Mrs. Campbell, but we're going away in the week. We're going up to Dartmoor, and I'm not going to be taking any stitching with me, so I expect that I will finish Mrs. Campbell probably by next weekend, and then I've got to think about what am I going to stitch next. Well, my intention at the moment is to reproduce and stitch this sampler. Now, there is no name on the sampler, it just says a present for a friend, and look how they spelt friend, F-R-E-N-D, and when I saw that, it just endeared the sampler to me so much. I love the primitive nature of the sampler and just the use of 2 colours. Looking at it, I believe it is just cross stitch over 2, but when I actually sit down and chart it, I will be able to confirm that, but I'm fairly certain it is just cross stitch. With the sampler in the frame came this really pretty bookmark, and the stitching on this bookmark is so fine and precise. And what was really interesting is that the design was stamped on the bookmark and then stitched over. And I'm going to insert a close-up photograph so that you can see where you can just glimpse the printed stamp underneath the stitches. When you look at the little zigzag key going around, it looks red, but you can see it's like a gold colour thread over it. And I believe that what has happened is that the red thread that was used has faded out to this sort of like gold colour, and the red coming through is actually the stamp behind. It's so interesting studying old needlework. There are so many clues in the stitching of how it was stitched if you just stop and study. This is a really pretty sampler. I can't wait to chart it. And again, it's something different. I like different. I don't want my sampler wall to look all the same. Mary Snow. I don't know what everybody's doing with the booklets on Mary Snow. I cannot keep up with demand for Mary Snow. There must be so many people stitching her. My printers have a print run due to be with me on Tuesday, and they've already put another print run into action, which I should get by the end of this forthcoming week or the beginning of the week after. We really are trying to keep everybody supplied with their orders. Laurie has finished the rose and the giant pear, but she's also finished stitching Mary, and she shared a photograph with us. Laurie's needles have really been flying. Oh, I tell you what I had this week, Cam, with some wooden needlework products. And I bought these off Etsy, and I'm going to insert the name of the store on the video. They have several different designs for the front of these goods, and this is a little sort of tray tidy for your sewing table. There's a little magnet there so you can put needles, and you can keep your scissors and a few different things. They can't be very chunky because it's not very deep. You couldn't keep your Kahana scissors in there, they're too chunky with the lid closed. But it's nice to have a tidy. I'm always losing things as I'm stitching. They go down the side of the chair, or I don't know where things go. So I do like having a little tidy by the side of me while I'm working. And I also ordered from the site these little scissor cases, and when I saw these, they really reminded me of Monsieur Roulet's little wooden boxes. Now, they don't swivel like Monsieur Roulet's, they are magnetised, and you just pull the tops off and you can keep your scissors in them. And again, it can't be your Kahana scissors because the tray is not deep enough. These are my Giulietta scissors, which are available from Access Commodities, or Access Commodities supply them to stores. They sit in there perfectly. And again, there are lots of different patterns that you can have on the front of your boxes, and you can have these personalised. And I had with this one, Hands Across the Sea samplers engraved on it. I love all the pretties that go with needlework. The store sent me some little goodies as well, as little complimentary goodies. They have needle minders, and they have a lovely little selection of little wooden tags as well. That's got a cat on it. That's another heart design. and there's another design there as well. Gosh, it's a really busy day out in my garden. Somebody else is just pulling up now. Was there anything else? Oh, I wanted to say thank you. So many people have emailed me or messaged me to say thank you for sharing Sophia Doggett. And they said they never thought to see a sampler from the Feather collection being reproduced, and how they're excited about being able to have a sampler from the Feather collection on their sampler wall. It was our pleasure to share this sampler with you. Samplers should be shared, and you know, it's our honour, our thrill to share it with you. Sophia is a very, very pretty sampler, and it just, you know, it makes it all worthwhile for us when we hear how much you are enjoying something. I don't know if I'm going to reproduce all the feather samplers that I have, but I am very busy working on one of the feather samplers, reproducing it to share with you, and I will share some more news about that sampler in February, as soon as I've got everything together, and it's something that we're very, very excited about. Okay, I think that person who's just pulled up is going to come and knock on the door, so I better round it up. I'm sure there was other things that I wanted to talk about, but I better go and see who it is and what they want. Happy New Year again, and I look forward to seeing you next Saturday. Bye-bye.